into replacements for Urban Meyer after he was fired from the Jags. He got a handful of names. What are some of the ones sticking out to you?
Well, you know, it's going to be up to team owner Shad Khan about the process, because very clearly he got the process wrong last year in choosing Urban Meyer and what has become one of the most disastrous one-year coaching tenures in NFL history. I would argue the most disastrous, even beating out Bobby Petrino from that Falcons team about 14, 15 years ago. And so now what does Shad Khan do? Well, you have to change your process. So do you go in the complete opposite direction? I cannot imagine that Shad Khan is going to look for a college coach. But you see the list right there. You have Raheem Morris, who once coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he has found success as the interim coach with the Atlanta Falcons and certainly as the Rams defensive coordinator. We have Eric Bieniemy. At this point, everyone should know his credentials as a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore and Byron Leftwich, two extremely hot names out there as offensive coordinators of their respective teams that have done a fantastic job in those offenses. Then finally, Doug Peterson. You look at the former Philadelphia Eagles coach who led the Eagles to a Super Bowl with a young quarterback and knows how to groom guys. You have a Trevor Lawrence. You need to attach someone to Trevor Lawrence that's going to take good care of him. And, you know, we just talked about the Chargers and Brandon Staley. That's a defensive guy with Justin Herbert. It's not necessarily that you have to get an offensive guru to pair with Trevor Lawrence. You need to find the best leader of men that you can possibly find, someone who is going to be honest and trustworthy and truthful. That is not what the Jacksonville Jaguars had in Urban Meyer, but any of those five names that I mentioned, and frankly, there are more names that Shad Khan and the Jaguars should be interested in and should be talking to, whether that's right now in the case of Doug Peterson or any unemployed coach, or whether that's following Week 16, where on December 28th, the Jags can reach out to any current assistant coach or coordinator on an NFL roster. That's what they're going to have to do in order to move on from this disastrous era.
JJ, coming into the season, we saw a bunch of new head coaches get hired. Not just that, though, 7 GM positions as well. Now, you point out in your Insider Notebook they're not available right now, but you do expect that to change. So which team or teams are you keeping an eye on when it comes to GM positions?
Yeah, certainly keep an eye on the New York Giants. We've been reporting for weeks now that Dave Gettleman, at the end of his contract, he's going to be able to finish out that contract there with the Giants, and then the Giants are going to move on and look for a new GM, whether that be Kevin Abrams, who's been in the Giants organization for nearly a quarter century, or they're going to go outside the family. You look at the Bears and Ryan Pace. Are the Bears going to clean house with Ryan Pace and head coach Matt Nagy, or is it just going to be Matt Nagy? League folks that I speak with certainly anticipate that Ryan Pace will be out as well. And then you look at the Raiders. What is Mark Davis going to do? He has interim head coach Rich Bisaccia, but he may also make a move with Mike Mayock as well. So that's one that NFL execs are keeping an eye on. And then finally, you have the Jaguars. So much tumult there. Are they going to keep Trent Baalke? You never know with the Dolphins. There was so much talk earlier in the year about Chris Greer and whether he was going to hang on. The Dolphins have obviously strung together several wins now, so that talk has quietened down. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kevin Colbert, the uber successful general manager there, has been on one-year contracts for the last couple of years, and you never really know when it's going to be his time up there, when he decides that, or when it's decided for him. And so those are the 6 that I would be keeping my eye on, but certainly the first 3 that I mentioned, the Giants, the Bears, and the Raiders, would be the tops on those lists.